office as a provost?
A myriad. I know that's a difficult word. Myriad means many. One, I'm a leader, and being a leader is a heavy, heavy responsibility. By the way, if I was asked today to apply to be provost, I would not.
Why?
That's a joke anyway. Because when you apply to be provost, you don't know what it entails. Wait until you become, and you realize, how did I get myself here? How did I apply to be a provost? But you know what? What is also good is that God gives us the grace. There are many graces. Graces is God's goodness. If God calls you to a leadership position, He also gives you enough grace to go through it. So you are never alone, but to be direct. This cathedral has about over 7,000 people. Can you imagine herding 7,000 sheep? Can you imagine? It's almost impossible, isn't it? And because I'm a shepherd, I have to herd the sheep. That's called an analogy or an example. I'm called to be a shepherd. Therefore, I must shepherd. That's my daily work. People call on my phone. People demand me, like now, sorry, you had to wait for me. Why did you wait for me? I had a meeting there. I have a couple waiting for me here. Now here you are. Now I'm rushing to a family that is bereaved because of corona. Look at my life. I'm called to shepherd. So balancing, one of the biggest challenges I've seen is balancing between your personal life, your family life, and your public life. That is quite heavy. It's a heavy demand on who? On me. But you know what? God in His mercy gives me grace to continue doing what God has called me. Now, I have a big staff. I have about 106 members of staff.
106?
Yes. So I have to see, are they paid? Are they working? Is that easy? It's not easy. Now, Cathedral is a church that has money. Who manages the money? It is the provost who is the CEO. He's the in charge. I have to balance all that. So it's never easy to be a provost. But as I've said, when God calls you,
You have to answer.
yes, and He gives you the grace to go through it.
God could never call me to do such a thing because He knows that my nails are very dirty and it's very hard work to do that.
But let me tell you, Lissa, I would like you to interview me in 10 years to come. You will be a very different girl. 1, you'll have matured. 2, you'll have gotten exposure. 3, you'll be going to the university and you'll have chosen a career. You could be a provost like me. We don't know. Fingers crossed. For now, fingers crossed.
Okay. What advice would you give to kids who want to become provost or priests when they grow up?
Or just being pastor. Number 1, be sure about your calling. I have seen people who have become pastors and that was not their calling. So they have gone to school, they have studied theology and they are not happy. Or their ministry is not well accepted by their followers. That can be the most frustrating job to do. But there's nothing as good as when you are sure about your calling, that God has called you there. So the first thing is calling. Know your call. And not just a personal call. Your call should be confirmed by 2 people. 1, God Himself. God should confirm to you clearly that this is where He has called you. And by the way, I must correct one impression. People think that pastors are failures. They failed in school, they got D's. That's why they want to become pastors. No. If you fail to become an engineer if you fail in your exam, don't become a pastor. You'll be a frustrated pastor. Be a pastor because God has called you and you're also hardworking, even academically. After the confirmation from God, just like, you know the story of Samuel and Eli? Samuel is hearing God calling and he rushes to go to Eli. And Eli says, I didn't call you.
Then he goes back.
He goes back. When he comes the second time, he's told, when he calls you, say, here I am, Lord. So Eli was the mentor of Samuel. He was able to tell him, it's the Lord speaking, just answer. And when the Lord called the third time, Samuel said, here I am. So God confirmed the calling.
But the one about that story is that I don't think Eli was a prophet. Or was he a prophet?
He was.
Oh.
Yes. And go read even about his children who became wayward. But that's a story for another day. So God confirms. But you need a mentor to confirm. So in that very story, you see two confirmations of calling. One, God himself. Second one, Eli confirmed God's calling on him. When God calls you, people will see it. God will also speak to you clearly. That's number one. Confirm your calling. Number two, get trained and trained properly. A call doesn't mean you shouldn't be trained. What training does, it gives you the discipline. It formalizes you. It structures your calling so that your calling is not fluid like water. No, it is structured and structured properly. Okay? And therefore, after your calling has been confirmed, go for proper training. And the third thing is work under somebody so that you can learn from them. Then after that, now you become. Those are, to me, like the 4 steps of being a pastor.
What subject should the kid learn to become a provost?
Actually, let's use more of pastor. There is no particular subject you need to learn to become a pastor. Just be good in school. Because I've seen pastors who became lawyers ending up being pastors. I have seen pastors who became engineers, but later they had the calling of God and they stopped being engineers and they went. So there is no single subject. You know, people think, oh, if you're very good in CRE, you should become a pastor. That's not the truth. There are many people who love CRE, but they don't necessarily become a pastor. But I can tell you some of the subjects that have helped me in becoming a better pastor. Languages are very good because our work is speaking to people. So you should be able to be articulate in language like English and Swahili. Those are good, they help. But you can study engineering, you can study anything else, you can be a scientist, but later God calls you. Language should help you. And if you're not good in languages and God is calling you to be a pastor, I would encourage you, go and do a course on public speaking. And that one will help you in knowing how to articulate your message.
The last question.
Yes, please.
As a Christian, how should a kid deal with bullying in school?
Bullying, yeah. All of us have gone through bullying. And bullies are everywhere. And by the way, it's not just in school. Bullies are bullies, even us, we can get bullied. I meet people who are bullies. And I can tell this one must have been a bully even in school. Number one, when you meet a bully, don't allow them to bully you. Because what a bully does is to stigmatize you. I don't know whether you know stigmatize. You know, it is removing the humanity in you and making you an object. Can you imagine people taking your humanity and make you a furniture? You know, if you hit this, it doesn't feel pain. But when you hit someone like Lissa, you feel the pain. So you don't allow anybody to remove your humanity from you. In other words, fight for your position and say no to it. So, you know, bullies are not courageous people. They're cowards. They want to use fear and intimidation. So if you become strong against them, what do? They coil their tail. But even if they continue bullying you, they know you are a strong person. So please resist a bully. But number 2, speak it out. One of the things that make people become subjects or objects is because they don't accept to tell people. 1, tell a teacher. Okay? Mm-hmm. Tell a teacher. 2, tell mom or dad or an uncle or a sibling. Don't be quiet. Because if a bully comes and you give in an inch, they will take 5 inches. If they push more and go to 5 inches, next time they'll go 10. So you keep giving them way and way and way, and then now they remove. And that's why children even commit suicide. Children go through molestations and rape, but they never talk about it, or they don't resist because they fear the bully. No, first of all, head on. Tell the bully you can't bully me. Number 2, talk to the teacher or a parent.
So bullying, you can't bully in school because you know you'll just get hurt.
Yeah, but let's not go violent.
Yeah.
Let's not go violent. A bully wants reason. If somebody tell you you're a fat girl, I'm just using this as an example. Okay. Tell them no. Me, I'm fear-free and wonderfully made. And I'm created in God's image. I'm beautiful. You know what you have done is counter that. If somebody wants to brand you something, or people tell you, I don't like tall people, I don't like dark people, you tell them, so now that you are lighter, are you better than me? Your value is not on your color. Your value is on God's image in you. You see now, what are you doing? You are countering it. So don't counter with this, counter with this and reasoning. That way, you'll be able to overcome a bully.
Okay, in our school, if it's not violent, it's talking about someone tell you, you are very tall. I don't like tall people, don't you? Mimi nauliza opinion yako, hebu toka hapa, tunakaaje?
Well, it's a good one because what you are trying to do is to counter that, isn't it? Mm-hmm. But you don't need to use foul or vulgar language. But you can tell them, stop it. You think you're better than me, or you see, don't use bad language. However, tackle. One-on-one. And that's what you will do even when you become an adult like us. If I meet somebody who is mistreating me, I'll be straight on them and tell them, I'm sorry, I don't like the way you treat me, and I'm warning you, continue this way, I'm going to ta-ra-ra-ra. You see, you are now defending yourself. So learn to defend yourself right when you are young, and don't use even vulgar language, but you can still defend yourself in a strong manner. Okay,
so if someone bullies you, you go to the teacher, you tell him he or she to stop.
Now the first thing is to defend yourself. Teacher is the second. Mom, dad, the third. So that they know there's somebody who bullies you.
Okay, everything is done. Okay guys, don't forget to like and subscribe. Don't forget this is Lissa as well, where we motivate and engage kids to be what they desire, even grown-ups. Bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.